Bum bum bum.
Welcome to
Bum bum
Soapbox.
bum.
It is
Bum bum
part
bum.
four of our exploration
Bum bum bum.
of the prisoner. And we have gotten into some interesting territory in these three. These feel like odd men out to
Yep.
maybe or uh, perhaps judging from what Joe is saying, maybe red-headed stepchildren of the series to some.
Definitely. If you go back and look at any kind of like fan write-ups, these are generally going to be three of the lowest regarded episodes. But as we'll definitely get into, uh, incorrectly, I think they're all very good.
Yeah, these I don't know. These were three of my favorite episodes. I don't know.
Like
Uh,
they're silly, they're absolutely silly, but I think it's in a way that's welcome and they're still saying pretty interesting things a lot of the time. You know.
yeah. Um uh I feel like there was at the end of the last episode we had we kept talking for like another hour, I think, about the prisoner. Um, I'm trying to think if there's any things we want to talk about anything we can remember from that before we dive into these episodes.
Hmm.
Um, it may not matter though. I think one thing I wanted to bring up was that how with the way that the intro is framed, you could almost view it like every single episode is him waking up on the island for the first time. That's the thing I wanted to bring back up. Um, uh, which really comes to a head in a particular episode of this tree
Hmm.
where you're like, what the fuck is happening? Um, yeah, these definitely have they're the most out there
Mhm.
and stretch the boundaries of the format by far the most. Um, but I kind of love all of them. Um, the first of the three, which is what is the name of it?
Uh, do not forget me, oh my darling.
Yeah,
Uh,
don't forget me or something like yes. Um, is probably the weirdest.
yep.
I think it's by far and it's and it like I said. Oh, here's the thing that I feel like unifies all three of them. They all feel slightly dreamlike or nightmarish. I would kind of say,
Definitely.
particularly this one.
Yes. I think that weird dream illogic. You can locate it in all three, but certainly in this one, and aye, there's just a everything feels a bit topsy turvy. It feels kind of makes me think of like Alice in Wonderland
Mm,
and stuff. It just feels like everything just feels slightly off kilter.
yes, and it's whereas the whole series was sort of wrestled with like what is the capacity of the technology in the village, and this takes it to a completely insane level. And after watching this, I went in our little private Discord. I was kind of like, "What in the Lynchian fuck did I just watch?" Because it's it's about a scientist who's basically studied with like Himalayan yogas or something, and figured out a process that they get through in deep meditation and has figured out a way to transfer the consciousness from one body into another, and they take number six, and there's this guy that shows up, I think they call him the colonel, I think he's colonel
Hmm.
something, and they put number six consciousness in this guy's body so that they can go and track down the guy who invented this process or something like that. And he's he it's him in his outside, he's escaped the village, but he's a different person, and he's it's so weird because then you also see so much more of what his number six's life was apparently before he got taken away, and that there was a woman he was in love with and possibly engaged to or something. But what's crazy about the show though is that like the whole time you're like, is this real? Is this
Mhm.
actual backstory, or is just
Mhm.
sort of a part of the larger scam or that's getting pulled over on him?
I
Uh,
had that thought this viewing. I thought that I was like, there's something about I could believe that this fiance is part of the ruse.
yeah.
It's like part of the construction. You know, I definitely think that's a valid reading.
Yeah, it surprised
Um,
me that he had a significant other. But I mean that episode wouldn't have worked really without it. But and you know, I don't mean to be like the why didn't they just fly the fucking ring to Mordor on the Eagles guy, but if they already knew how to do it, why did they need to track down the guy in the first place?
I think it's because they couldn't reverse it, and that's what they wanted.
Okay.
What that they
But
wanted
it's
to
almost like they didn't even need it until they did it to him. And now they need the
Mhm.
reversal.
reverse it.
But that was the whole point they did it in it's like this weird
It's
causal loop.
a Ouroboros. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
and if
Uh,
you think about it, you could just put the whatever the respective consciousnesses that you want to swap, you could just swap them into the other body again. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it really is one of those things. People don't like when you say this. You're just not meant to think about it too much. I think
Right, right,
it's an excuse
right.
for the episode. I feel
But I
like.
think I think it's nice to I think it's good to point those things out in the way that it's like it's almost commending like this didn't make sense and it
Mhm.
did matter.
Oh no, I agree. I totally agree.
well, and I think it's also like they're doing that specifically so that number six, who had a personal relationship with Saltzman, isn't that his name? So that so that he personally could track him down, and then they could take him and snatch him up and take him to the village. But okay, what's weird is that there's other things about this that are like hinted at around the edges where his who's ostensibly his higher up in the British intelligence, they're also like they're the ones that are trying to track down Saltzman, but are they
Hmm.
trying to track it down for the village or separately to the village or like uh yeah, because there's a guy that they have tail him all the way to they number six knows where he's at because of these slides that he took, and there's some weird code. It's all three of well, not all three, but it's this weird elaborate spycraft
Hmm.
nonsense that's
Yep.
just sort of like, does this make sense? I don't know. um, but yeah, he initially has to he he's he's released. Number six is switched into this other guy's body who's like volunteered, I guess, to do this, and is released back into London. And he immediately like starts uh trying to well, it's so weird. First, there's him engaging with his fiance, his ex fiance, and she lets him know that he's disappeared for a year, essentially.
Hmm.
And that part of it's interesting too because you start to understand that he has no conception of time. So the village is because it's always constantly fucking with him. There's no way to know like how long he's actually been in there. Um, but his whole thing is trying to convince people that even though he's a different person, that he's still number six. And it's really funny because it's like things that you think would normally work, where he's like goes into this like specific detail. Like his boss at MI6 is actually the father of his fiance. So he's like he recounts this moment where he told them that this is when I was like, told you that I wanted your daughter's hand in marriage or whatever. And then the MI6 guy is like, whatever. They could have just trained you and told you that. like this
Yeah.
thing. It's like at every instant where something that would be obvious, or do you think in a normal story would be like, oh my God, what is going on? No one believes him.
Mhm.
And so he has to take he has to go to ever greater lengths. Actually, I think he basically gives up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing you can do. I felt like a little bit sick and quite anxious during that episode. Like it was like this.
Yeah.
I felt it viscerally. I mean, I've seen things portray similar situations before, but I feel like it almost this wasn't overly dramatized. He was just kind of like, okay, I'm just dealing with this situation. And the fact that it wasn't like he didn't freak out externally, it
Yeah.
it made me just I don't know. I don't know why, but it drew me into it more, and I just felt exactly what it would be like for a little while there to like be in a different skin and have no fucking recourse to prove that you are who you are, and it really kind of got to me.
Yeah, this it's interesting because it's like an echo of the Schizoid Man. Like
Definitely.
yeah, they're of a piece. Like it's sort of a
Mhm.
similar, it's somewhat similar of idea, but this one is like you said, Rev, it's way more uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Like it's like it, I, that's why I use the term nightmarish. There's just something that's like Schizoid Man's awful, and it's like really hurts and fucks with you. But this is like it's so much weirder. Um and Yeah, so much weirder and so much more uncomfortable in a very different way.
I love the salesman machine. I really that would be so much worse if that had like great contemporary CGI. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
I love that how humble it looks.
Yeah, how it's just like two upside down pyramids that glow different colors depending on where the brain's going or whatever.
And
But
the lightning effect, like
Yep.
the electricity
yeah,
effect was just like whiteout. It was just erased.
yeah, which
It
sort of
worked.
makes it,
That's great.
yeah, it makes it more nightmarish in some
Hmm.
ways.
It's got that Lynch special effect vibe, like in Inland Empire or The Return, where it's the special effects are like super rudimentary and really crude, and it looks kind of handcrafted, but that actually contextually can be kind of unsettling. You
Yeah,
know, it kind of works.
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think
If no, go ahead.
I think it's a kind of a fool's errand to make things try to feel any kind of way if you're going with realism. Like it just doesn't work. Uh,
Completely agree.
that's why like Hollywood's that's part of the reason I think Hollywood's falling apart is it's like everything is so uh Kurt and I have talked about this a lot, but like the cameras are like right on faces or like the top half of bodies, the backgrounds are all blurred. Like it just you get this like realism without detail and without the feeling. It's like realism that makes it feel not real at all, actually.
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
like
completely.
they're trying too hard to like, oh, well, this is this the height you're at when you're talking to another person. So this is where the camera should be and all
Mhm.
that stuff in the background. Like we want it to feel like you're really there. So it's all blurred and it's like, but that's not like your eyes are darting around all the fucking time when you're watching something and like but the more real it like you try to make it, the less of a painting. Like, when you look at like a
hmm
painting, you know it's not fucking real, but you fall
Hmm.
into it because it's real within its own borders. And
yeah. And there's something about the way that the Saltzman machine is designed Like if it, they could have made it more technical, but the way it's just so, it's like stripped down basic shapes.
Mhm.
It makes it, because basically what Salsa's doing is magic.
Mhm.
It's just like there's no what you're not doing this, not for real. Like it's
I mean,
and the fact,
if that's science, then so is like an organ box. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Well, and the fact that it doesn't even attempt to. The fact that he learned this from like yoga, studying yogas in India
That
or Himalayas or whatever, that just makes it so much weirder.
that detail does like two things for me. And it displays how anything holy will be like, used for shitty means. It'll be that dual use technology kind of attitude that intelligence agencies always have.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
specifically that an intelligence agency had a scientist looking into this and was interested in it. Yes,
And
that
then the other thing is they couldn't um it solved the plot problem, like from a writing perspective of like, why can't they
Mhm.
just reverse it? And the answer is because he actually used like meditation skills to make the reversal happen. And that's how he like outsmarts them is because he's doing stuff that's magic. Like
yeah,
that's canonical in it. Like it's really interesting.
Yeah, and that's it's interesting that Schizoid Man, the horror and the village's manipulation scenario in that episode is horrific because it's completely, governments, maybe they don't go entirely that far, but that in theory could happen. It's not a huge leap of the imagination to imagine something like that taking place. As we have somewhat spoken around in various conversations. But the horror in Do Not Forget Me, Oh My Darling, crazy title. Always forget what comes first there in the title. The horror, like you said, it is essentially magic, and they don't even try to do the sort of classic Star Trek. The accelerator is whatever. They don't like jargon it or like
technobabble.
they don't technobabble it like Star Trek or Evangelion. They just kind of let it, like you said, they give you that wee touch of the backstory with the Himalayan yogi and all this. And that's all you get in terms of how does this machine work. But that almost makes the twist at the end, or like the twist.
Which I loved.
I think that's great. I think that's
Yeah,
a fantastic ending. That almost makes that twist to me land like you're kind of you're rooting for the scientific abomination. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah,
You're
fuck
rooting you're
yes.
you're rooting for the like
Yep.
Project Paperclip Nazi scientist.
Yeah, no, yes, that puts you in a really interesting moral place. You know what I mean? When you're watching the show, because you're like, "Fuck yes, he did it. He's escaping." And but like you said, I mean,
But
he,
yeah, but earlier like one of the other characters said Heil to him.
oh, true. Wow,
So
that's true.
that's that I've felt like that was like he's actually they want you to feel like he's from the Nazi side, so it fucks with your head to empathize with him. Like that's how I felt.
And that even makes his pre-existing relationship with number six kind of ambiguous as well, because
Yeah.
they, to some degree, know each other. They seem friendly enough. So
yeah.
that's cool actually. I like
Oh,
that.
just an old friend. I mean, he's a Nazi, but he's a nice guy.
Ex-Nazi.
He's one of the good ones.
Aye,
He's one of the good ones.
Uh, I have to step away. So continue if you
no
want.
problem.
Um, well, shit, I feel like we're at the point where I would be like, do you have more on this episode specifically? Because I watched it the furthest amount of days ago, so it's least fresh.
Hmm. Let me think. No, I think we've pretty much touched on everything that I would have said. Um,
I didn't feel like there was that much like to talk about with this one. It was just how successfully trapped I felt by watching it that hit me.
I and I do actually agree with you that the being stuck in the pseudo number six perspective, there is something really uncomfortable about the idea that he just cannot convince these people from his prior life to take him seriously. It does have that nightmarish quality where everything you pick up just like melts in your hand or whatever.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, I think that so when if he did freak out, that would be some kind of release. Like
Hmm.
if he lost his shit, because that's what you would want to do, is you'd want to like kind of give up at least temporarily to be like, oh, I'm just fucked. What the oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
But instead, you see his training kick in because you recognize, like I recognized the moment where I would have lost my shit. And then he's just like clearly bothered, but kind of stuffs it down. And he's like, what's the next move then? And
Yeah.
that moment where it was like, even in this situation, like he has to just collect himself and make the most of it and figure it out. And like I think that's what really did it because it was this like, oh fuck, like he's just taking that hit of like how hard that just hit me. He's just like
Hmm.
eating it and just keeps going.
Oh, yeah.
Rev, can I ask just super quickly?
Yeah.
What part would you have lost your shit at if it was you?
Uh, I think it would have been, well, his wife didn't really, damn.
I I think I would have at the mirror. Yeah.
Maybe actually that's a
Yeah.
good point. Maybe just
Yeah.
the realization, when it hits you, seeing another person's reflection. I mean, that's got to be heavy in a way that you can't even really begin to formulate because it's never
I
happened.
I know when it would be. For me, it would have been when I was in my own house talking to my wife or fiance and like and having to then go like, oh, I
I
have to
have to
pretend to not
pretend.
be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm home. I'm fucking, how long have I been gone? I genuinely don't even know. I'm fucking home. I can't be myself.
That is like a really interesting moment, weird recursive. There's possibly some TV commentary there. I don't know. I've not really ironed
Mm,
that out exactly. I'm just kind of suggesting that as I'm speaking. But that's number six in the body of somebody else, pretending to be somebody else on behalf of number six
Yeah.
to number six's fiance in a scenario that might be entirely fictional on the part of the village. There's
yeah.
just it's quite it's there's a lot of layers when you think about it.
Oh man. No, I mean, you gotta hand it to J.J. Abrams for trying, but it just didn't come close. Like I
No.
feel it's funny because throughout this whole thing, I have gotten those feelings that I got when saw like the first season or two of Lost.
Mm.
Way back in the day when that was like there hadn't fucking been anything like that I'd seen on TV. And I was like the mystery, the like cram-packed mystery of it felt so good to just like have all these questions and all of it's interesting at least for a little while. And like but I get that from this, you know? I get it's like that hole that it left in me when I kept watching Lost and it was horrible. Um, it's like this is healing that wound in a weird way.
I
Oh,
think a lot of people watching Lost at the time, uh, you persevere week to week, and you're thinking, no, it's going to go back on track. They're going to pull it back. You know what I mean? And it just does not really happen.
yeah,
A shame because that's got to be one of the best ensemble casts on TV. You know,
it was good.
totally
Um,
wasted.
I, yeah.
well, I've never watched Lost, but I know like a lot of the rage and discourse around it, and I think another difference is that with the prisoner, like especially as we're getting close to the end, I think there's just an acceptance of like you're just not going to get all the answers.
Hmm.
There's just no way, and the way the show is structured and set up is like every 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 episode you're back on your back foot again.
Yeah.
Like you don't know where this is going to go, and it's particularly with these episodes, with these three episodes, it's just like, I'm wait, what's going on now? And so you like, there's just particularly with what this one opens up was like, oh yeah, it's half mystical, which has kind of been a bit of a theme through the whole series. It's just like you're not going to know the limits of their capacities. There's not going to be an answer of like what is the structure behind the village. Like,
And
yeah,
this is one of the hugest problems with Lost. It wasn't that it didn't go anywhere, it was that it constantly promised that it was going to.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
And it, like with this show, you can watch one single episode and be thoroughly entertained, and you would never have to see any other episodes. If you took any random like episode of Lost, it's always building towards something. Oh, there's going to be an answer. Oh, there's going to be an answer. And they forgot to make it like the process to be fun.
So
Um,
yeah,
the
like
difference in sorry, I was just going to say super quickly the difference in creative philosophy between McGowan as a creator and like Abrams. McGowan seemingly did not go in at all for the whole mystery box thing. That whole idea, the promise that there was going to be imminent reveals, that all the seemingly disparate connective narrative tissue was going to pay off in a grand reveal or whatever. I don't think McGowan is ever even suggesting that throughout the show.
right.
mm,
You know.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
because it with each episode and each new number two, it's like a slightly different rule set
Hmm.
for the island. It's like every time that number two switches, and is in a way it's a different village, which sort of goes back to the idea of like every time you watch the show opening, it's the first time he's on the village.
I love that way
yeah.
framing the opening. Actually, that's great.
Mm,
Makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Yeah, it also gives you the impression that like this episode portrays, that time is wibbly wobbly, that like he might be the village itself might exist somewhere in a pocket dimension because he doesn't know how long he's been gone, and every single day it seems like he's just arriving. So that if you just like take that as being what just what each morning is fucking like, that's I mean that's pretty interesting. And having no direct commentary on these things really leaves it open for your imagination to just kind of like sponge up the possibilities. It's great.
Yeah, it's almost like the worst version of Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
You they accumulated. If you're watching the season, even if you're breaking it up like we're doing into sort of manageable chunks, um, you, you actually I don't know why I haven't made this connection before in my head. It seems so obvious now that you've said it, but Groundhog's Day, 100%. The opening every time it's a new episode, it's a different number two. It's a slightly different, like you said, a slightly different rule set, maybe even a slightly different sort of tonal register and stuff. And every time we're opening with a backstory again.
Mm.
But this time we a different number two. Aye, that's great. It really is kind of Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, it the possibility is like it's not just a place. You're right. Like it's a pocket dimension. It's another reality that they're throwing him into, and and the way that the technology and the that surrounds the island. It's like that could very well be the case. This place is that weird.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It it almost feels like the whole thing could be uh like alien tech, like the whole experience could be some kind of
Yes.
simulation because then like once you're logged into it, it almost has that same feeling as like I'm sure there's better example or other examples, but like the book Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, where
Mhm.
like if once you go underground, then people like don't see you on the surface anymore. Like you get wired into a different network.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it almost seems like that's kind of what happens with the village in a different way, where because then if even if you escape, you're still in the village. It's
Mhm.
still like there's still
Yeah.
a hand under you that and it's just it makes it feel like a metaphysical affect that's
Mhm.
happened to him more than a technological one.
Definitely, that's a quite intuitive way of framing it. I think most people probably have that idea in the back of their minds, even if they don't voice it, when they're watching the show. Like I think you said a few weeks ago, Rev, that that idea that every time number six is, if it's an episode where he gets out the village and he's outside, something always seems to pull him back. Um, and it does almost give the village this subterranean sort of feel where it's like he can come above ground again, but there's still part of him that's there or that has to go back. You know what I mean? It really
Yeah.
does have. You really can see that Lost got a lot of its juice from the prisoner, like a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, big time. Uh, huh. Yeah, I hadn't considered that parallel either. Because
That's like a diabolical underworld that
that becomes
mhm,
like a whole thing in Lost where like people start later on, they start getting off of the island, but then they have
mhm,
to go back
mhm.
mm.
for various really bad reasons.
I think that part of Lost is where it loses, certainly where it lost me sort of definitively. I was like, I really don't care about
Yeah.
this stuff. I actually am not invested in this, and some of the acting's still good and whatever, and it looks pretty good, but
For
eventually
me,
that's not really enough.
yeah. For me, it was when they like when they take a character and just make them a different character all of a sudden, like they did
Hmm.
with John Locke, like that broke me on Lost. I was like, because that was
Uh,
my favorite fucking character, and then they're
hmm.
like, oh, now he's suddenly a bad guy instead of this advocate for all the weird shit. Um, but that doesn't matter because we're talking about this. Apparently, I have a lot of unhealed wounds around Lost. It's
Aye.
Well, no, but you actually it does make sense because I think the prisoner. I mean, there's sort of elements of that in this where he's like number six becomes a different person,
Hmm.
but he there's a through line and he maintains it his individuality through it. So it's like he would be a bad guy, but it would be revealed that that was something that was like a mind control device or something. So if they had paid it off in some different way,
yeah.
I mean, maybe that could have worked. But
Tell me if you think I'm off base here, but did either one, and maybe it's you guys have just seen this episode for the first time, and I've seen it a lot. It, I've thought this before, but it really struck me on this viewing. Do you not think it would have been cool if, like, I don't know, he was in like a woman's body?
hmm,
Like if there was another layer remove?
huh?
That would have been, yeah.
I mean,
You
it's
know
fine that
what?
they didn't do it, but
I don't think it would have worked as well. I think they could have made it work, but I don't think it would have worked as well because I'm remembering this feeling of seeing the guy whose body he was in, and almost my mind was like trying to project McGowan's face onto him,
yep.
and it wouldn't have worked if it was someone that looked too much different. Like if they was someone really pretty or feminine.
That's a good point, actually. Yep.
Yeah, like my automatic sense-making mechanisms would have been trying to like force it.
Aye. They clearly picked an actor who was like about 10 years older and about 15 pounds heavier, but still roughly cut a similar figure to
Yeah.
Magoon.
Hmm.
You are right, actually, now that you're saying that, I do think that was intentional. You know what I mean? You're meant to kind of look at him and see, well, you can kind of see number six there a little bit. You obviously would lose that if it was a smoking hot babe,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
just
you might just want it to like stay her. But
Are
that's a good
at
are
least
point.
are maybe it's her, but then it's dubbed with McGowan's voice, and he's doing all the
Oh,
like,
no,
yes,
that would be confusing.
really, all his
I think
all his verbal inflections that he's got.
I don't know, 67. It might have been a little early for that. 70s that would have been a hit.
I love that part in it's when we've got the POV shot and he hasn't seen the mirror yet, so he doesn't realize that he's been uh consciousness swapped, and you get the Magoon voiceover in the other guy's body, and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, whatever he says, and he starts going a biddly diddly dee, and he just
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just so funny. Uh,
There were a lot of really ridiculous, funny kind of outbursts in all three of these episodes, or like
Yeah.
audio things that yeah, the I forget the one I just watched. Yeah, a lot of stuff. The lady, we'll get to that, but like when she's throwing the fucking bombs and
oh,
being like, "Wee!"
incredible. Amazing. It's like full, that is the most Batman, Adam West Batman moment of the whole show.
Yes. Yeah.
It's complete Batman.
It's bad shit, and I loved it. Like, okay, so before we move on from this one, I want to ask you guys if you think at the end, because I feel like there were like a couple frames where the helicopter starts turning as the guy is getting away, as the professor guy is getting away.
Mm.
And I'm like, they're just gonna turn it around. Do you guys think he ended up like right back at the island again? 'Cause historically speaking, that helicopter never gets away unless they wanted to.
Yeah, I did have it in my head. We've seen in multiple episodes that the village have the capacity to remotely control the helicopters. I didn't think to actually keep an eye out when it cut back to the helicopter though. No, I wish I'd done that now. Maybe you're probably right, actually.
It's
Um,
like 1 second where it looks like it starts to hard turn and they cut it. And I actually wondered, did they film, did they originally have it turning around and then maybe change his mind and like cut it so that it looked like he actually got away or left the mystery open? I don't know. But it looked like they cut it like it looked awkward, but I couldn't tell if it was intentional.
Yeah.
mhm.
Oh well, we should say what happens is that they number six does find he tracks Saltzman down in Austria. Um, but they both capture him and Saltzman. And so now that they have Saltzman, they force him to reverse the body swap and put six back into his body, and then the Colonel or Colonel Mustard, whatever his name is, back into his body. But then for some reason, it's necessary for him to sit in the middle and be the conduit for
Yeah.
this to happen or something. Why that is, or maybe that's part of the ploy to get away with it. But basically, Saltzman, he ends up putting six back in his body, but then puts the Colonel in his older body, and then Saltzman escapes in the body of the Colonel.
Yep. And
and
the
then
yep.
yeah,
On
go
on
ahead.
you. Oh, no, on you go. On you go.
And then number six wakes up and just delivers the exposition of like, no, really, this is what happened. Like just out of the blue. um Almost as if like, oh, this was the plan all along. Like maybe that's why he's calm, because he's like, I'll just find Saltzman and then we'll go through with her. Or like rigmarole. Because that's all we've seen that so many times too, where you think number six is completely lost, but somehow he's actually a couple steps ahead.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know. It is a wild, great conclusion to this episode, though.
for sure. I yeah. Again, it's just so funny that it's like it's just magic. There, we don't need to explain anything. We the absence of technobabble, um, it does add more mystery, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
like with something like Ava, you're already watching. Like the visuals are already giving you so much mystery.
Hmm.
Like you're like, what the fuck is happening? What are these giant things? Why are geometric shapes attacking like Tokyo 3?
why
Um,
are they called angels?
like, yeah,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
many questions you have.
uh,
And so the technobabble just serves for the realism because it's all these like peripheral things. Um, but the absence of it here actually serves to create more mystery, which is really interesting to note, like just the different ways that that can land based on what kind of recipe you're cooking up.
yeah, and the
No.
fact that yeah, it's really interesting. There's at no point is anybody asking for this situation to be explained
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
No one's ever
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean? What does it happen?" Well, let me. So when Saltzman was studying, and it's like, no, it's just like
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's real. Everyone's treating it totally real. No one's baffled by it, which is
Hmm.
even more fucked up. Um, well, those who know it's real, and then everyone else is just doubting.
Or doesn't have clearance to ask, maybe.
Ask, or they're just playing along because they know if they hold their cards back, they'll get led to Saltzman because that's the thing you kind of get from the head of the MI6 guy is like he probably does know that that's number six in that guy's body, but he wants to find Saltzman.
So going back to earlier episodes when he did get out,
Yeah.
uh, the people in his own organization were dirty then too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean,
The
you
Chang's a
know,
Big Ben.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there's one later too where he actually leaves. Yeah, many happy returns.
Hmm.
So they're those guys are dirty, but he doesn't remember. Like at no point is it like, oh, I can't go back to those guys because they screwed me last time I got free. So it just like kind of adds to that weird amnesia, like every episode is his first day there kind of thing.
Yeah, well, he can never be entirely sure if they're in cahoots with the village,
Hmm.
if they're compromised by people, or if they're like and being in the world that he is in espionage, it's like, well, can he ever really trust anybody anyway?
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
like
not. No,
there's
I mean that's kind
yeah.
of a rule.
Um
You can, I guess, but you're probably not going to get very far in espionage if you go around trusting people all the time.
up to a level, yeah.
These three episodes, despite the sort of lashings, 60s sci-fi hokum, there is a kind of fuck. What was my point? I had a point. I swear it was probably a great point.
Hokum is a really good word.
Love the
That
word.
is
Uh,
yes.
what was my point in saying the word? Uh,
It was it was that thing. The the very
The si-
Batman nature of this episode.
of
something about these three episodes.
um
Sorry, continue what you guys were saying. If
well, no, but that it does open up an interest, like the hokum, the they're way more okay. So the show has had elements of that are always a little ridiculous, but um, it gets ramped up. I don't know. I think it's ramped up. I don't know if it's ramped up so much in this next episode, but definitely in the girl who would be death. But
Yeah.
uh, what is it? what's the name of the town? Harmony, living in
Harmony.
Harmony. Um, which has got it's the best intro in the entire series.
Incredible. Amazing.
Yeah. It essentially, for the first 5 minutes, you're like, am I watching the right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I double checked.
It basically, whereas every other episode opens with him like driving his Lotus car and to give his resignation, this is him like as a cowboy riding his horse into town and throwing off his sheriff's badge. Like, and it's just like, but being what the show is, you're like, okay, let's just see where this is going. I don't know where this is going, but let's see where it happens.
Already on the horse.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because it stays as a weird offshoot Western TV show for about 95% of the episode. And I was almost expecting it to end and never go back. Like in fact, I would have been fine with that if it just ended and then like it goes back to the regular system the next episode.
Yeah, I would have been too. I I will say that when it did come back, that was that was one of my favorite, the last like 10 minutes of this episode. Some of my favorite time in the whole thing so far. Um like those cuts and those edits were insane. Like the way that they had him storm back in and suddenly he's in the saloon again and then get punched in the face and like the shifting back and forth between places. I was so impressed with the way that they did that because I was like barely noticing it happening and then I was like, "Oh, wait, we're back. Oh, shit." And then to find out like that they were just kind of they didn't have access to the village, so they came up with that episode. Is that what you said, Joe?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's pure genius because that means then they're using other footage they had probably rather than recording fresh footage for that show.
Yeah, and very clearly not America, which I like. That adds just a nice layer unreality to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's almost a Western, no quite.
Yeah, and he doesn't. It's not exactly an American accent. It's not quite a British accent. I don't know what.
Some words are American.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's not even trying.
Did you know that he was born in New York?
Yep, I did know that actually.
I didn't. And so I was like, how, what? He seems so English, but then he, disguised the accent pretty well. He just sounded like American actors used to sound, like the stage diction and stuff like that. I felt like it was just kind of that.
Oh, the transatlantic accent.
High transatlantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tartarian accent.
It actually wouldn't surprise me if he was genuinely falling back on some shit that he learned on stage. You know, that would make a lot of sense. And I love how he slightly modulates, sort of like again, just every episode I need to reference Twin Peaks: The Return, slightly like the 5 million different versions of Dale Cooper that Kyle MacLachlan plays in The Return. McGowan slightly modulates this version of like Sheriff Number 6 or whatever we're calling him, so that he's even more taciturn, reserved.
Yes.
He's got the Clint Eastwood like bombardier's eyes. You know, he's a man of very few words. Even more than usual. I love that he still finds this is an episode that could have been. He could have just. He could have been a complete somnambulist on screen for this episode if he wanted. He could have just sleepwalked the entire time. But he really finds an interesting approach for the sort of fantasy version of the character. I think it's great.
It is. There was so much intentional and tactful subtleties going on with that like Wild West version of him. It was so good.
Yeah, he's less quippy.
Yeah.
Like usually he's very like
he's just less English.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
He's less foppish.
Yes. Although,
Um,
oh, it's funny that you say foppish because there's a where there's a point where he's very discombobulated and he's like stumbling out and his like arms are like swishing side to side.
it's
No,
just his run.
he does. He does the noodle arms that we've
Yeah.
referenced a few times. He does them again. And Americans do not run like that. That's an English run. I'll say that.
Well, if American, some Americans run like that, they get beat up in school though. It sucks.
I believe it.
Um,
Uh,
yeah. Did you guys realize that? Okay, so the creepy silent guy, not I don't even know what to call the guy that was running the town in this one because the number two character, his
he's like the mayor of the old west town or something.
right,
Mhm.
Yeah.
his guy,
The
like the
guy in the
weird
pink
guy that
pink
didn't
shirt.
talk.
Yeah, that with the top hat.
Mhm.
Is it just me, or is he extremely Clockwork Orange?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
other reviewers have pointed out he seems proto Alex and the Drugs.
Okay,
Like,
because
aye.
I mean, this show came out after the book came
Mhm.
out, but the fucking movie wasn't made for like 5 more years after
Mhm.
this series. So I'm just seeing that like quiet, almost sensitive eye. Like
Mhm.
he has a sensitivity, a softness in his eyes that makes him it more unnerving that he's such a silent creep.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't feel like it was the like main character, but I felt like it was like he belongs in that universe and that general vibe and aesthetic. I just I was astonished. It felt so Clockwork Orange. It was actually my wife that pointed it out, and then I could not unsee it for the rest of the episode.
I didn't realize that either, but you're 100% right. That is absolutely what that guy. What's interesting is I think he shows up in the next episode as the photographer.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh,
And do either one of you guys, did you notice that his name's, I'm pretty sure, Alex Cano? Did you notice that his name and the credits in Living in Harmony have a little box around them?
no.
No.
McGowan personally said to the production people to put a box around his name because he impressed them so much with his performance. Is that
Really?
not adorable? It's like genuinely cute.
Give him a gold star.
No, that's exactly what it is. It's like, give him a gold star. He's earned a blue ribbon. You know what I mean? He was great. I just love that. I mean, he just when he isn't having like nervous breakdowns on set and trying to strangle the directors, like Magoon sounds so avuncular and genial and like genuinely, kind-hearted, like a cool boss. You know?
Yeah.
But
Just
also
Well,
like such a like square dad at the same
yep,
time. It's
yeah.
so
100%.
interesting.
that's crazy because the guy is he's like the highlight of the episode.
He's excellent.
Yeah.
He's like the which is it's an archetypical henchman, the like sort of silent,
Mhm.
you know, like unstoppable killer.
They call him the
With
kid.
the
You
kid,
know what I mean?
yeah,
He's like an
yeah,
archetype.
yeah, he for sure. And and always invariably, it's like, well, what does the boss have over this guy? Because I don't. Why does this dynamic work? It's always that question. Like, and I guess you're meant to see the boss as much more like evil, manipulative, meaner somehow, but not in this case. The kid is way more psycho
Mhm.
than the also I do think the Catherine, the female,
Mhm.
the kid has like this obsession with this saloon girl named Catherine who is constantly trying to help Sheriff Six, as it were. And I get it. She's beautiful. This is
Yeah.
she's probably one of the most beautiful women I think of in this show that I've
Mhm.
seen, at least in my opinion. But it's yeah, he's he's the kid is like silent, and then he's also like goofy
Yep.
slightly and is
Yep.
terrorizing. Like his way of drawing his gun where he like
Oh,
shuts his hand way out,
Yeah.
his
I love
like
that.
ridiculous poses. Like and there's a crazy moment where he so number six, the mayor number two is like insisting on number six be his sheriff in the town of Harmony, which is the Old West version of the village. And he also keeps insisting that number six has to take his guns.
Hmm.
He has to take his guns as sheriff. And number six refuses. He'll accept the job as sheriff, but he will not pick the guns back up to us to a level where the kid who has it out for number six because he can tell that Kathy is somewhat affectionate and is helping this guy, and the kid hates it. Um, he draws down on him and actually shoots him twice, but with such precision that it's like it does these like little flicking grazes
Hmm.
across number six's hand and face. And like no, and it's amazing because number six doesn't flinch at
Hmm.
all.
Aye. I love that. That's like I love the unreality there. Like he
Yes,
literally does not react to being shot twice.
short. Yeah.
Mhm.
And oh god, yeah, he's such a good horrible villain.
Mhm.
And
And
Also, he reminded me of am I the only one? He reminded me of Buster from Arrested Development.
oh, actually,
yeah,
I kind of know what you mean.
And that
yeah,
makes it even better. There's something pitiful.
Yep.
He carries
yeah,
something pitiful about him.
Yep.
And
yeah.
even when he's like going to going to harm the girl, there's some sense of like I had this feeling like someone did this to him or someone did these things
Yeah.
to him.
Yep. He's visiting a sort of he's revisiting a traumatic thing that was
Yeah.
forced on him on somebody else. I totally see what you're saying there.
And I feel like that goes unspoken, but like there's something about when certain traumas happen to people at certain ages and getting locked into certain ways like that are
Hmm.
associated with that age. They look like this almost pitiful child that was frozen. Um,
And
yeah.
I think the fact that he's like a handsome guy
Yep.
is like I think that plays into it too because it's like he you would think he'd have like a like if he was just a normal guy, he'd probably have a reasonable chance with Kathy. But since he's so fucked up,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like
Yep.
there's just no way for
Uh-huh.
that to like. And she's terrified by this guy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that scene is so even before the assault scene,
Yeah,
the scene where she has to come in and sort of feign interest in him to get the keys to
yeah,
give them to Sheriff Six. It's genuinely really uncomfortable the way, like Rev was saying there, showing Alex Cannell's performance to a bunch of prospective actors to me would make a lot of sense in terms of this is like facial acting. The facial acting. This is a character who is completely mute, has to communicate through his eyes, his mannerisms, his posture, and his face is so expressive. You really he makes the character feel really layered, so that when she comes in and is sort of playing along with his affections to get the keys, I know how bad this sounds because he reveals himself to be a murderous rapist, right? But in that moment, you can kind of feel for him. You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
yeah,
this psychopath freak seems genuinely touched that this person he is dangerously obsessed with is showing a momentary interest in him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a really good performance in that sense because
It,
it's layered despite all of the layers coming through non-verbally,
yeah.
which is
It's
impressive.
really unsettling and yeah, because I mean, what's at the heart of anyone being fucked up is it's fucked up things happening to them. Like
Hmm.
no one's just like evil to almost no one is evil to the core, right? Maybe no
Hmm.
one. Um, but it's it's whether or not you get that glimpse so that you connect and be like, oh fuck, I can see things from I can empathize. And it makes things more difficult, like for
Mhm.
the viewer. And
Yeah,
it's
it's this slivered notch of possible redemption for the character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so horrible because if in the right circumstances with the right amount of time and like if you get this guy out of here and like you just maybe if you treat him the right way you could like
Hmm.
undo whatever the fuck is wrong with him, but it's just
I can fix him.
yeah, but the situation is just not going to allow that to be.
Hmm.
And before I forget, this is we can go back to this. Just it occurred to me, uh, one of the funniest sort of dry bits of humor in the entire 17 episode run of The Prisoner, I think, is when it pops up the title "Living in Harmony" over a fist fight. I'm like, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really knew what they were doing there.
Oh
Yeah.
man, they work number six over in this in this episode.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
gets
I
to
really loved I
shit.
loved the fight scenes in this one. That was fun.
It's
Yeah, I
great.
do too.
And
Um,
it almost it's just so funny to think that this is pre The Matrix, pre like Truman Show,
mm,
Existenz. It's pre Westworld, even.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it prefigures so many different places that the places where that sci-fi is going to go in later
mm,
decades. It's just super interesting.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's also amazing how at the end it so much of it's just sort of like vaguely waved away and kind of nonsensical, like
Uh-huh.
where he
Cutouts.
where he like comes out of it and like is he's the town's real, but then everybody else is like a paper cutout. That somehow, and I think even the first one he finds is the cutout of a dead body, so it's on the ground. It's like,
It was absolutely genius. Like
yeah,
I I can't explain. I think this episode might be my favorite just because of that last 10 minutes. I'm saying like the way that it went from total continuity, no glimpses of
Mhm.
that, no hints that he's in some kind of other thing. It just started like a Western show and it went
Yeah,
as a Western show until he's like getting smacked in the face and goes in and out of reality until like, it's then he's finding fucking cardboard cutouts of everything and wandering back and forth between the two. And it just felt so good because it was such a long setup that you kind of got used to being there. And then when
yeah.
it changed, it actually really hit you, even though you kind of expected that to happen at some point. They wait just long enough to where you're not really, yeah, you don't think maybe they just let it go.
Yeah,
There's this. Sorry, on you go.
no, 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 you go ahead.
I was just gonna say super quickly. It's just a kind of joke, but so that makes me think when he's on the horse, is he on like one of the plastic horse heads on the end of a stick? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just you extrapolate the scenario further. Like, what really was real? Um, it's just interesting to think about. And when he was in jail, what did that look like? Was he
Uh-huh.
just in a cell
Yeah.
for hours?
I actually I love that you bring that up because very early on he loses his horse and he's just walking around with a saddle
Yep.
over his hand. So there's almost like a like number two or number eight or whatever her name is are probably watching him ride the stick horse and they're like this week this is undignified. Let's pretend that that's not happening. Just give him the saddle and let him walk around.
At least click a couple coconuts together so it sounds. Um,
Uh,
what you were saying earlier about like when you said when you pointed out that he's like, "Oh, I'll take the badge back, but not the gun." It didn't click for me until we're talking about it that that also perfectly reflects his time in the village, where it's
Mhm.
like he doesn't want the job anymore. He doesn't want the gun. He doesn't want the power. He just wants to be the sheriff and bring justice. It's like
Mm,
I don't want the violence. I just want justice.
yeah.
Also, I think this is what I was going to say earlier. Actually, uh, these three episodes are just fun. We experiments on the formula. We kind of narrative oddities. But all of them to me have a clear dimension that speaks to McGowan's dissatisfaction with TV. I feel like it's impossible for me to watch an episode like Living in Harmony or even Don't Forget Me, Oh My Darling, and what's the last one called again? It's the girl,
The girl named Death,
the girl
the girl
named the
called
girl, the girl who was death or whatever.
who grew up there. Yeah.
Um,
That's what.
all three of these episodes really feel like uh, this motherfucker getting out some like frustration about TV about because the next episode is based on an unused script for his previous show, Danger Man.
Mm,
Um, and Living in Harmony, the idea started because McGowan had pitched a western that he wanted to star in,
Hmm.
like
mm,
that didn't get picked up or anything. So I just I don't know. These again, like I've said a few times during these conversations, you shouldn't. Biography can be really limiting when that's the lens that you're interpreting art through. But knowing, I mean, McGowan's daughter said after he died in interviews that so much of the show was intensely personal, based directly on his own life. We can go into
mm.
that more in the final two episodes. Um, but it's impossible for me to watch this episode and not think he is raging that they did not greenlight his Western series. You
Yeah.
know, he really wanted to be a sheriff.
He would have made a
Yeah.
good one.
Aye, and even
Yeah.
even the refusing the gun initially, that's the entire gimmick for Danger Man, is that his character John Drake is like the anti-Bond because he doesn't seduce women and he doesn't use a gun.
Huh.
So there's a kind of furtherance of that idea, but in a Western setting here, until he does use the gun, obviously.
Well, that becomes a kind of a theme for the white hat detective character and other things later on. I'm wondering if that's like kind of a if that was a trope before this, because it kind of becomes not necessarily a trope, but it's a thing you see. I'm trying to think like where, but there's notoriously a couple characters that are like they won't carry a gun. They kind
Mm.
of like take shit for it or whatever. I almost want to say one of them is like a popular like it's not Columbo, but like something like that.
Hmm.
Oh, you might be right. Actually, that does sound familiar.
I'm unless I'm just thinking of like you know, ridiculous like no, I don't carry a gun because I can throw a toothpick and skewer five henchmen.
Well, it does sort of remind me of Clint Eastwood's character in Unforgiven. Will
Hmm.
Money. He brings out his guns and then I think spends most of the rest of the film, even though he's got the guns with him, not trying not to use them.
Hmm.
Which is I no, you are definitely right. I'm struggling to think of examples on the spot, but that is definitely a sort of character motivation sort of framing that you see. You definitely see it after this for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's in the world of this episode, it's a conceit because and it's probably his reason for turning them in initially is that he knows what the results of using them are and what you have to like what you have to carry with you and like what it means if he does have them because it like as demonstrated he's obviously very good with them.
There was
Uh,
almost a feeling in this episode of like battling the fates.
Mhm.
mhm.
Um, if you kind of separate it from the village stuff and the rest of the show, it feels like all these other characters could be like being manipulated by means they don't even understand to get him to fall in line with his destiny. And he's just like, fuck you, that's not my destiny.
Yeah.
Um, more so than um more so to me than in the rest of the show. Because it felt like he belonged. He should have been the sheriff. That's how it felt. Um, but he didn't want it. And it almost felt like, yeah, like all the other characters could have just been uh the guiding spirits for his life, like moving things around to try and get him back on track. And he's just like, no,
Mhm.
no.
What's
And there's
yeah,
oh
go ahead.
sorry, on you go. No, on you go. On you go.
No, it's also weird because the whole time the mayor wants him to get his gun. He wants him to have his guns. So much so that he has the entire town of goons beat the shit out of him when he takes the badge, but leaves the jailhouse without the weapons. And it's like I want you to kill all these people or something, or like or maybe
The
I want
battle's for his like soul, not
yeah
Mhm.
any tangible
Mhm.
result.
results yeah um, or maybe it's like God, you're my only equal, and if you would just pick up those guns and clean all these fucking people out, because I don't have to deal with them or something. It's a really crazy because I really do think even though that they end up shooting at each other at the end, um, I do get the sense that mayor would have been very happy with him just at his side with the guns. That's what he wanted, not to actually have him at odds or use it as an excuse to blow him away, but just as a it's like, yeah, no, this is the right correct order. So yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like it's it's the corruption of the man and not even
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like just that satisfaction, like, no, you're gonna do this. You're gonna break something
Yes.
inside of you're gonna break your own code for me. And
Yeah.
there's this kind of twisted like power dynamic thing there. It
What
seems almost fetishistic.
yeah, well I think I don't know that we've brought this up in our prior discussions, but there is a thing where so why number two is probably so adversarial to number six is because number two is broken.
Mhm.
He
Hmm.
is conforming to the system.
Mhm.
They're all very capable, intelligent people, but they all could not resist whatever the larger force of the village is.
Oh yeah.
And so number six, them wanting to like convert him is very personal because that is their failure. Like they could not do what he did, and that just drives them crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's this like embodied reminder of their weakness.
Yeah.
Damn.
And sort of like the weird recursive how many layers remove and like that there was in the previous episode with number six's identity and all the questions therein, all the ambiguities. The end of this episode. Am I fine to speak about the end of this
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the end of this episode is so interesting to me. Like you were saying, Rev, the last 10 minutes, it really does put an excellent button on the entire thing as a piece of sort of not just sci-fi, but just as a sort of small character drama thing,
Hmm.
because we see number eight, and I think the Kathy in the village. I think she is number 22, I think.
Hmm.
Mm,
Um, we see that they're out the simulation, they're out the sort of VR village created experience to try and fleece number six for the reason why he resigned. But number 22, Kathy, she is still Kathy on some level. She's
mm,
out the simulation, but the feelings that Kathy had for the sheriff have it's almost like those feelings have come with her
Hmm.
yeah.
into the real world. And it's funny that number eight only seems to start manifesting that same thing when he notices her doing it.
Mm,
He sees that she looks at number six and he sees the kind of longing in her eye.
Yeah.
And then that's when he's been normal up until that point, speaking to number two. But then you actually see it sort of come over his face. It's almost like the suggestion, the VR, the sort of characterizations that they had to play to fool number six. It's almost like it's contagious, like it's viral, which is an
mm,
interesting insinuation, and also pretty interesting that number six, you could argue, outside of the VR thing, almost seems to have that same thing as well. I don't think
mm,
he actually speaks the entire
Uh,
time.
mm.
And he goes into the dome, he looks at number two, he looks at number eight, and then he sees that like Kathy is there. And you can see him going, he's walking out in his head, he's putting it all together, and he just turns away and leaves.
yeah.
Mm,
And so it's almost like he has retained that super taciturn, ultra stoic, reserved sheriff characterization as well. There's something really interesting about those last 10 minutes.
Yeah, because
Um,
he's not fully out of it yet. Like
mhm,
he's still like halfway in between in this liminal zone. And that's why
mhm.
he's able to let the other guy's able to like punch him back into the simulation.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna hit you so hard, you're gonna end up in last week.
mm.
Uh but like God, that it's so disturbing to me when she's just standing there crying.
Mhm,
Because it just feels like someone who had just been molested and murdered,
mhm.
but like lived through it.
Yep.
And now they have the memory, but not the actual experience. And for me, I was sitting there thinking, like, what kind of insane emotional confusion is that going to give a person to be like trying to tell yourself it wasn't real, it was just this simulation, but all the feelings are real, so it's real to you. And then you look over at this other guy and like trigger basically an acid flashback that was
Yep.
shared.
Yep.
Uh, God, it's yeah, it is. It almost feels like that the current of his character came through her and like bled into the world again. It's so it's a
Well,
really good point.
it's kind of a interesting phenomenon because it's sort of it's a precursor to like how people will live their whole life, or they I don't know how prevalent it still is, but they would live their whole lives on MMORPGs like Warcraft and shit, or like
Yeah.
EverQuest, and like they would have these very rich, like they felt like the virtual world is actually where they really express themselves. And uh I wonder if like when those people do meet up in real life, what does that feel like? Because does it feel like you're trying to force that fake reality? Well, that what to you is probably more real. You being your high elf cleric or whatever the fuck it is.
See, my whole thing is like if that's how you feel, then just work really hard so you don't have to be born into this human like Earth realm again, and you can just go to some realm where those things are real, like next lifetime, you know? Like, but that's hey, that's just me.
Hmm.
But
And
yeah,
sorry, just super quickly. Did so when we finally get to hear, the kid, but in the village outside of the simulation speak. Um, after he's killed Kathy, and she said that line she says to number six is genuinely pretty haunting. That she wishes it had been real. That's
Yeah.
there's a lot being communicated there. I think, and
Hey,
sort of.
lady, which part?
I'm going to slightly interrupt myself here for a second. I also loved that really fucking budget ass fucking uh Sergio Leone, Sam Peckinpah shot when he's buried Kathy, and you get the the shot where it's like the weird side perspective where he's framed in silhouette with the cruciforms and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that was great because you can just see that's just such a indelible Western image, especially like a spaghetti Western kind of image. Aye, that was it.
I felt like he also was paying homage there with a couple of the side characters that weren't really part of it because the ridiculous faces that Sergio Leone would like intentionally hire people like he would pick actors just based on the landscape of their face
I
and
like
then
David
just
Lynch.
yeah and then just spend like a full minute just like with a
Yep,
fly, them swatting
Yeah.
a fly or something.
yep.
Um,
Aye, and
and I
also
feel like there was that one guy on the side who was like real ugly and had really weird teeth, and I was like, he feels like straight out of a Sergio
mhm,
Leone film.
100%, and the we also have the true to the westerns of the time. It's got to be said. Mexican Mexican brown face.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's right.
and
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
made me think of what we were talking about the last time. And I just thought, man, we should go back to this. That's not what I thought. But I did it is just funny that even that aspect that's seen as super distasteful for obvious reasons, about the Western cinematic genre, certainly of the 50s and 60s. It's funny that they replicated even that, you
Yeah.
know? Uh, aye.
I don't know. I mean, how long until it's okay to do brown face?
It'll come back. It'll
It'll
come
come back.
back.
I'm
Uh,
just, not that I'm not chomping at the bit to try it or anything. I'm just curious if it'll ever be funny again. Like, will it ever be okay? Because I think it's good, solid fun. I think Whiteface is hilarious too.
Whiteface is so fucking funny.
I love
Well,
Dave Chappelle doing white guy is like one of my
Yeah.
favorite fucking impressions of all
well,
time.
it's. I mean, we already have. Oh, what the fuck are they called? It's the people that they're like they only stream using avatars or whatever. Like they have the like little
Like
animated
VTubers.
VTubers. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
And
that is
with
so weird.
it
yeah.
is, but I mean, you could. There's and definitely with all the as fake as things are getting, like where they'll have people with so many filters on that. I mean, I don't. We're not that far off from like it's just a flubby fat teenage white kid,
Mm.
virtually being pretending to be a black basketball player or some shit, and like that's going to be their YouTube channel, and it's like I don't think we're that far from that at all.
No, in fact, I think a case could be made that we're in the early days of that. It feels
Yes.
like, that's right
Yeah.
around the corner.
Yeah. But then what's really funny is it's a very short jump from there to like all of those people who are into talking to other people that are like covered in fake, like stuff, like digital augmented reality affects and whatnot.
Yeah.
It won't be very long before people are actually like in a room alone and they're talking to just a bunch of chatbots and AIs.
Hmm.
I think that will
Hmm.
actually be like a thing where at some point people won't actually know if they're talking to other human beings, even if they're on video calls. Like,
That's uncomfortable to think about.
yeah,
The free range matrix. Yeah. It's just
Oh man, I do not like thinking about that possibility. And it just occurred to me right now. Furries, right? Furries are like analog VTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I also think the furry is a like cultural phenomenon. They are, in a magical sense, very powerful, and I mean that genuinely. I don't mean that as a piss take. The idea that you hold and you sincerely, and I mean it. The fact that it's sincere is where the power comes from. I think the they have like it is animism in an almost literal sense. They have these animal avatars that they. It's like Kurt was saying about sort of people that are like addicted to MMOs. That almost becomes the real expression of who they are, rather than their
Yeah.
genuine physical bodies. They would all love to be put into the village
Yeah.
Westworld simulation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In their fursuits.
Uh,
Well,
it's so funny you bring this up because I was on some Reddit, of course, and there's some forum actually talking. I don't know how it got on this, but they were like, "Yeah, furries are fucked up, but if someone dropped a bomb on the largest furry convention, the internet would stop working because all of those fucking people are the ones that have built and run the internet." And then I just had this idea, this like kind of like it's a riff off Marshall McLuhan, whereas furries are the sex organ of the internet.
Oh, that's true, and I hate that it's true, but it is.
okay. So here's my thing about furs. No judgment, but like it looks to me like what is actually going on here is that we've become separate from nature in a way that's unhealthy. And some people who have instincts and like wild aspects that they've not been able to express properly or come in contact with or embody in real life, that there's this other thing that it's like attached to kind of basically what I'm saying is I think these people need to be berserkers. I think they want to actually wrap themselves in animal pelts and gain their power and like do wild weird shit. Like I think there's some instinct there that like yes, we should be putting on animal pelts and standing out of society. And I just see like that's a fucking berserker. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
maybe it's just a berserker of orgies, but I don't
Well,
know.
there's a weird thing too about it because a lot of them are neurodivergent or whatever, and there's a thing with that where like social interaction and touch is uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So your way of being intimate is you wrap yourself in this like suit so that the touching is it's through a mitigated experience.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's not unlike being online, even though you're in
It's
the
a
real
lot like
world.
that.
Yeah, like you still have layers between you and who you're interacting with. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's a fucking weird world, man.
Lots of skin to skin contact with your kids if you have kids. You have young
Yep,
ones, lots
yep.
of skin to
Aye.
skin contact. Give them a lot of attention.
And I think I mean I'll be honest, it does make me furries. The idea does make me slightly uncomfortable, but I also I pretty much don't judge anybody for anything,
Yeah.
barring some very exceptional things, like Jeffrey Dahmer. If I meet him in a bar and he tells me what he's been getting up to, I'm going to judge him a bit. I can't help it, you know. But I try to leave it. It's the outer limits, human experience that's going to make me judgy. If it's just as simple as I get my rocks off in this really niche fucking sexual expression, I'm pretty much not going to judge you for it. But there is something about furries where I think to myself, why hasn't there been like a great furry piece of art? Like that is ripe for character exploration. Like no, and I'm not talking a documentary. I mean like a piece of fiction, a novel or a series or whatever. Why the fuck has nobody set a story in the furry milieu?
Oh, well, what
Because
I
they're
think
afraid to piss them off because they
well,
run the
Probably,
internet.
probably.
well, the thing is that they all claim things that already exist. They'll claim like Zootopia and the Walt Disney's Robin Hood, and
Oh,
like
aye.
to them that is their stories.
Hmm.
Uh,
Good point, actually.
it's just viewing it a different way. But I do agree, like someone working off of the known reality of it, like
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
there was that movie with Michael Fassbender that where he like wears a paper mache head.
head, yeah,
Not a furry thing, but it's pretty. It seemed I didn't see it, but it seemed like a similar sort of. I don't
which is
know.
based on a true story.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
it was a musician that Frank, yeah, that was like all his co collaborators didn't know what he actually looked like or something. I can't remember all the details of it. But yeah, that's based on a true story. Yeah, I'm actually shocked of that I don't know if it's filtered through to Law and Order SVU, which is where everything ends up. Like Law and Order SVU is the great like cultural sieve that everything filters through at some point. And I'm shocked that I can't think. I've seen like there's like 9 million seasons of it, and I can't recall if they've ever shown up in a single episode of it. I mean, they for fuck's sake, they had an episode where uh someone was getting dosed with DMT and being that was being used as a rape drug or some shit. You would think that furries would have been way earlier on.
Or at least in
DM,
that one.
I've never even heard of that. That DMT seems like a really strange way to go about that. If
Uh, that's I that almost just makes me feel like there was a lazy day in the writers' room.
Oh man,
Mhm.
there are some many lazy interpretations of shit through a lot of SVU.
Is that the show that had the episode like a decade ago or something about the MMO playing like incels who like assault?
Kidnap somebody or
Yep,
something.
yep,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, 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 yeah,
yep. I
yeah.
remember that episode gone like viral
Yeah,
at the time, but
they love doing boneheaded takes on shit like that. Yeah.
like ripped from the headlines, but like really bad.
Yeah, they also I don't know how famous it got, but they had a version of basically like Epstein where in the end he actually commits suicide. There's not a conspiracy.
Well, it's definitely fiction.
In my mind, like something like SVU is actually just like this automatic, like they have some machine that's like, what are people saying that goes against the narratives that we want to support? And then it
Sport.
just
Yep.
automatically spits out a script that counters it.
Yeah, more or less. It's a shame because like the it has some really great episodes, especially in the beginning of the series.
Well, yeah, the originals, like not SVU, but original Law and Order, I loved the original
Oh,
cast one.
yeah,
And
no, the original the start of Law and Order SVU in particular, like it's there's some great stuff in the early
hmm.
seasons.
Did either of you ever hear of or watch Homicide: Life on the Street?
No, I've heard of it.
Hmm.
Oh, is that the guy that did The Wire?
I
It might have been where he started.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
so.
Yeah,
And then yeah, because it's also I believe it's also in Baltimore.
Hmm.
And it's got like um oh fuck, what's his name? The like uh man, I'm not able to think of anything I'm trying to think of right now. Like coming up all blanks. Um but the cop show that what's his face from SNL is on. the stupid comedy Reno?
Uh,
No, not Reno. Brooklyn
not Brooklyn
Nine-Nine.
911. Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah. The police chief in that show, the black guy that's like real severe,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
um, he is like Detective Pemberton in Homicide: Life on the Streets, way back when Law and Order, the original series, was going. And they did like a bunch of crossover episodes and stuff.
Did
Huh.
not
The
know that.
characters like would like they'd come down from New York to Boston or to Baltimore because they had like a case that um it
That's
was
fun.
really, really incredible show. They would have like an entire episode here and there that was all just in the interrogation tank. And it was
Yeah.
just so
Damn.
fucking intense.
I'll need to get
Uh,
that. I'll need to get a look. I've heard the name through the years. Just
yeah.
never got around to watching it. I'll need to give that a look.
Oh, and Ned Beatty is in it.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Good actor.
Um, the polar opposite to all of these serious shows, though, is the last episode in our trio.
Oh my God. This is like every spy stereotype. Like,
Yeah.
put it all in this one episode.
Yeah.
Put it all in my butt.
uh, and it's there is a sort of like the way it ends is very much like this is kind of childish, but fuck you, I loved it.
Aye, that's how I felt.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it was great.
I mean, it literally ends on a visual pun. Number six calling number two a clown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm not ashamed to say I loved it. Although maybe I should be.
it's amazing.
It is just genuinely so fun.
And it's nonstop.
Hmm.
It's it. What? Oh, wait. Actually, hold on. Okay. Why has there never, or is there not a common trope of like in English cinema of like assassinations at cricket games?
Oh no, I was thinking that. I was thinking
Like,
that.
why is this the only time I've ever seen that? And I'm like, this is your sport. Why is this not everywhere? The most baffling game. I do not. Why is his gloves got these little spikes on the outside? Why is that there?
It's to backhand your teammates when they do a bad job.
That's how all cricket games start. Is as a duel. You take the glove off and smack someone in the face. I believe Kosho is a realer sport than cricket. That's how fucking crazy cricket is to me.
Well, I actually did have a Kosho flashback when I was watching this episode this time. Well, during the cricket game, I was like, kind of what you're saying. I was like, oh, it's kind of weird that you don't really see a lot of spy stories, a lot of espionage, conspiracy thrillers, or even just like, I don't know, murder mysteries or whatever. You don't really see the cricket game as a setting or
Yeah.
a place of incident. But then immediately it leapt into my brain. They should have been playing Kosho.
Oh my god.
Fuck cricket. It should have been Kosho.
I wish Kosho were real. I just can't believe it's not. I still don't believe it's not real. I know that on ESPN 5 there's a fucking Kosho tournament right now. It's just not available in English.
Oh man. The okay, so this is another weird one where he's like he's out of the village and it just is. He's just out of the village and he's working as doing as his normal secret agent shit. And it's like, that's not explained. Is this a flashback? Maybe it's what's going on. But yeah, it's amazing. It's a cricket assassination through an exploding cricket ball, which is the most goofy, insane, and what I love, which is it's a thing that's popped up in this episode and the prior episode, is in The Prisoner. These like manic, wild fisheye close-ups.
Oh, when they scoop the frames out, and
Yeah.
it suddenly becomes like Tetsuo, the Iron Man,
Man,
or
yeah.
something. It's crazy.
Like so when the pitcher throws the ball and then it cuts into his like "Rah!" like his like
Yeah.
insane close up face, like, and the guy explodes hitting the ball.
Those little touches just add to this like unsettling, surreal element. It's great.
It just increasingly gets sillier and sillier and
Yep.
more ridiculous and more ridiculous.
You think it's peaked for like silly 60s flower power retardation, and then the next scene just outdoes itself
Every
throughout the
time.
episode. You're like, surely it's going to start to get a bit grounded now. We're going to get like real stakes and stuff. Nope. Every single scene at the very
Not
end,
yet.
fucking it's Napoleon.
He goes from being like, for the first part, I'm just like, why does he just keep going along with this? Like, why you already know whoever's leaving these messages is trying to get one over on you. Like, why did you put the mask on? Why did you put the I don't understand. And he's wearing a full-scale Sherlock Holmes costume with Ray-Bans.
Yep. I love the sunglasses. That is a great touch.
It almost, you know what it really felt like to me? This whole episode, it was like, how are you not Doctor Who? How are you not Doctor Who?
Again, not just saying this. This I don't think I've ever thought it before, but it might have just been because last week we were speaking about Doctor Who briefly as well. But this episode, I was like, this is so much like the second Doctor, the third Doctor, even some of the later revival Doctor Who stuff. When Russell T Davies was showrunner, it just has that ridiculous, eccentric British. We're going to ask you to take this seriously. Up to a point.
It did feel very reminiscent of like Davies' years on Doctor Who, for sure.
Definitely, that's what I thought.
Up until the point, well, no, not up until, even more so for the last little bit when it goes from like this cat and mouse game to like he just goes full on Bugs Bunny.
Where he takes a full hour using their entire arsenal.
Every single gun. There were like 100 guns, and he somehow reverses all of them.
Why do you never see Sherlock Holmes #6 breaking out of the gimmicked, the booby trapped fucking sauna thing in full Sherlock Holmes regalia? Why do you never see that gift as a reaction image? Because that is so fucking funny, man.
Yes. Oh my god. If anyone out there listening wants to make that GIF,
Please do
contact us. Please contact us.
Yeah, and the ridiculous starts because the episode opens with them blowing up a cricket player who's a guy who's like the most English. I think his name is the Colonel or whatever, and he's got giant mutton chops and clearly, put down an African rebellion or something, and this is his retirement. And he gets blown up, and then so they're like, #6, you need to also be a cricket player. The same, like, put on mutton chops. Why? I guess they just need to assassinate a guy with mutton chops.
It almost seemed like they were in a video game, and it was like if you go to this area and you wear the mutton chops,
they'll let you play cricket.
And then if you play cricket there, if you knock the ball out, someone's going to come replace that ball with an explosive because that's the way the game is programmed. Like, it didn't have anything to do with a logical plot because it's like, the guy you're dressing up as is already dead and they know that. Like, what are you doing?
For some reason, it made me think of Cruising, where Pacino's boss brings him in, the chief of police or whatever, and he says to him, well, the gay serial killer, he loves short guys with curly hair, dressed in leather. You've got to go undercover. That's what the full mutton chop thing made me think. I'm like, why is that an element of the disguise? It's so fucking funny. It makes no sense.
so relieved when he finally took it off once he was in the car. I was like, oh, sighed relief. It was really
Well,
unnerving.
just to call back to Kurt's very inappropriate misogyny moment earlier, right? I'm also going to commit misogyny alive on this podcast. Justine Lord as the girl who was deaf, I suppose. I don't think she's all named. Jesus Christ, dude. What the hell? Her legs deserved Cole Byrne. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
She was also very good, I thought, in the role.
Yeah, with her like Pink Panther prancing around,
Yep. She was like
mischievousness.
the most 1967 looking lady I've ever seen.
Yeah.
With her insane evil uh eyeshadow
Yep.
with the points on it, the like cat points inside.
They looked like daggers.
Okay, um so the whole thing is basically number 6 chasing this assassin, this woman assassin who's in white, through like increasingly ridiculous situations. Initially at a carnival, and he keeps trying to jump on different rides, and it'll be revealed that it's actually this other lady in white, and then there's like an angry suitor who's then like, I'll smear your nose across your face, I'll bloody you up. It's just
It was just such a fun. It almost felt like a Rube Goldberg machine
of just like increasingly. Well, there's one moment in the middle of the episode that is it's somewhat like the weirdest, where she's after they leave the carnival, there's like this car chase.
Oh, I was going to bring this up. Yeah.
And she turns around and like starts to spin her finger at him. And he literally, the world rotates behind her.
The back projection of number 6 chasing her, like pivots with her finger. It's so trippy.
Yeah. And it like, there's a moment where you're like, okay, what the fuck is he actually dealing with? And
well, did you notice the next street that the street that they turned down immediately after that scene was Witchwood?
Oh, really?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
I made a note of that and completely forgot to bring that up. Yep.
And that was, that's the point. It's stuff like that where it makes me almost want to be like this David Lynch film feels McGoohan-y. Like,
yeah,
because I'm like, well, chronology here. And I mean, taking something that is already weird, but then you add this totally, it's just, this thing is unexplainable. It doesn't make sense, but it's fucking happening. And we're not going to explain it, and we're not going to do it again. I don't think that isn't something you see this far back in time depth that often. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was truly, I was actually yelling. Like I was yelling as if I was like, no, they fucking didn't. This is so good. Like my wife's over there trying to watch, and I'm like just screaming. So I was that excited that they chose to truly enchant us and like leave you with that, like, you don't know what the fuck this girl is capable of.
Yeah. I mean, she's capable of making explosive candles that if you blow out, poison candles that if you blow out explode.
Also, clearly magic.
Yeah.
No way.
But yeah, go ahead.
It's another interesting sort of layer that even though this is a completely irreverent, campy, intentionally ridiculous upon ridiculous upon ridiculous kind of episode, there is also something interesting about the idea that it almost feels like it could be another sort of village created scenario.
Yes, yeah.
She's taking them through all these sort of rote spy scenarios. just the booby trapped house with like 8 million improbable traps layered atop each other. Uh, and you've got the ultra punning. Every single line is just a pun.
Yeah.
It's like super, and I think one of them mentioned it might be her dad. Um, I think he mentions Bond Street as well.
Mm.
So there is this like this very intentional. Even the bit in the sauna where she puts the broom and she locks him in. That's from a Bond film from Runabout that I think it might maybe came out in '65.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
That exact thing happens.
Huh.
So it's just interesting that in this scenario, which we learn as a kind of children's like bedtime story, kind of fairy tale almost.
Which actually, when we get to that and talk about it, it just opens up more questions. But yeah, keep
Yep.
going.
No, the reveal it doesn't reveal anything. It doesn't clarify anything. It just raises questions, definitely. But it makes me wonder. I haven't done any digging about this. I don't know if this is the case, but are we meant to assume that we're seeing a previous mission of number sixes that he is embellishing on
Shane, yeah,
to amuse children at bedtime? It sort of feels that way to me.
That's what I thought too.
Mm.
yeah. Well, and it, I mean, there's all these, like we've been mentioning, like these elements of magical realism. The other one I thought about was like when he arrives at that abandoned. There's an abandoned village that the car chase ends at, and she's like speaking, and the way it's framed, it's like she's speaking directly into his head. And then he walks over and he finds a speaker on the side of the
Yeah.
building, and like conveniently, it's just a weird idea. Like the whole booby trapped series of old shops, that abandoned shops, also have speakers running all through them. And she's thought ahead of time that, oh yeah, he's definitely going to destroy this one, so I need another one
Mm.
that's on the other side of the wall that's then going to be.
Using her predictive witchy powers, she was able to deduce that number six would see that he was poisoned in the pub,
Yeah.
Drink,
drink
yes.
himself into being sick, and would go in and take a paper towel for the paper towel dispenser so that he could read them out. Like it's
That's
just, I love the logic of it. It's so
Mhm.
retarded in like a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, really it just keeps unfolding and like you're still kind of laughing at the thing you just saw and then like another one's happening and you're like, what the fuck? And then like those little setups like, oh, he sees the woman again when they're chasing through the fair. And then he sees her and he goes up to her and then it's not her, like you were saying, and she's with this guy. And so he's like, oh fuck, sorry. And then a little bit later, he thinks he sees her again and he starts to go up to her. And then that same guy walks out and he goes, oh, that guy's with her and assumes it's not her, but it
Yeah, it
really
is her.
is. And
Yeah.
like that time, it's yeah.
And that
It's
that
such a
guy is the gunfighter, the kid from the prior
Mm,
episode.
yeah.
I didn't catch that at all. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
good.
well, I was just going to say, I actually forgot to say this about the Living in Harmony episode, but it comes back in this episode. That actor is English, but in the Living in Harmony episode, when he expires at the end, and you finally hear the kid's voice, he has an Irish accent. And
Huh.
in this episode, he's got an Irish accent again. So I'm like, what is it? Why did they keep making this guy speaking an Irish accent?
That's interesting.
I just a funny detail that leapt out at me. I'm like, it's just funny because he's English.
Huh.
So
I did really like how the way that she kept talking to number six throughout this whole thing was this weird sort of affection.
Yeah, like she's
mm,
in love with him. She like really wants to.
But like
Yeah.
the way that love is expressed for someone who grew up the tool of her father and like severely damaged from whatever kind of training he gave her to make her this assassin.
Hmm.
So like her mode of expression um is death. And so even in love, it's the only mode of expression she knows to like communicate that.
Mm.
And it just it I don't know, I just appreciate that it grounded it in like a real human element. Even though everything is so insane in this one, it still had this like hint of abuse and sadness behind like what it takes to create someone with this kind of skill or ability or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting. I was kind of I started to think of her as like, oh no, she actually is death, and that like her dad, it's like that she just picked a guy to be her dad, and this is this like death holidaying as a human, and
I
this is
like
the
that
best.
take too.
This is like the like this is actually her expression is like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. I can't wait till I kill him and he's actually mine. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that kind of thing.
Well, see,
Um,
I kind of felt like I went back and forth
uh-huh.
between like, is she just death or is it
Mhm.
actually? But yeah, I don't know. I think the what a flex to
Yeah.
tell a bunch of kids a story about you killing death.
Yep. And Def's plan was with a possibly adopted surrogate dad to take to fly Beachy Head Lighthouse into fucking Parliament. Oh man, that's incredible. That is like proper moonraker, like just like 60. That is like the kind of spy shit that Austin Powers
Yeah.
is sending up. You know those plot elements. Um,
And the fact that like all the main villains dressed as Napoleon and
Yeah.
all his henchmen are Napoleonic soldiers.
Like what was with that?
What
Yeah, I
was
just
so
feel
that
like I feel like they just had those costumes and they were like,
mhm.
we'll make it work.
I,
well
I,
I have to well no go ahead Joe I was gonna
well, just super quickly, just because I know something about that element. Magoon was apparently displeased about that. In the script, he wanted it to be Hitler. He was meant to be dressed as
yeah
Hitler.
Oh.
And I don't know, maybe it was like a kind of too soon thing or something. I don't. Maybe it was too playful. The episode wasn't treating Hitler and the Nazis with kind of sufficient, reverence or no reverence, but you know what I mean, gravity.
Not enough the opposite of
The
reverence.
opposite, and because it's obviously a very whimsical episode, but
Right.
it probably does land smoother if it's Napoleon than Hitler.
mm.
But it would have been hilarious if he had the little mustache.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious. I mean, it is pretty great because like, if you were a secret agent telling kids a story, it's like, yeah, and I'm the one who got Hitler.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking hilarious that he wanted to be like, no, and in this episode, number 6 is telling these children that he killed Hitler and death.
Well, okay, so but there's also this other weird layer where, like, because he was Sherlock earlier, and Sherlock's name Nemesis was always referred to as the Napoleon of crime.
Oh,
Ah,
Like,
ah,
that's another like weird angle on this.
that's interesting. I did not make that connection.
huh. Neither did I.
Um, but it's also like I think there's also something there where it's like it is interesting that you said that it was originally supposed they were originally supposed to be Nazis because my opinion I felt like as if this was an American show they would definitely be Nazis because
Hmm.
that's our mythic big villain we defeated.
Hmm.
Whereas like Napoleon, I feel like is the mythic big villain that the British Empire took out.
Aye.
Yeah.
I would say definitely up until I would say that probably changes in the British consciousness sometime in the 70s or 80s, and we
Mhm.
we have totally we have like you guys in the States, we have totally made Hitler the kind of post World War II liberal consensus secular Satan
Yeah.
just like you guys. But it was Napoleon up until that point, and probably through the 60s into the 70s. It was still Napoleon,
Mm.
definitely.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up too. Is like I was under the impression that in America we teach our kids that we won World War II, and in England they teach their kids that they won World War II, and but really the Russians won World War II.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and they actually, like fucking Japan surrendered before
Hmm.
we dropped the bomb.
Hmm. Yep.
Like, so it's all just complete propaganda, but in the
Yep.
zeitgeist, it's like, yeah, Hitler's officially Satan,
Yep.
for the sake of fiction, stories, and such.
Hmm. It's funny as well because when you look, this just to be very clear, right? I'm sure I don't need to say this. Uh, I'm not doing Hitler. Uh, uh, I'm not doing Hitler apologetics right now, right? But
Hmm.
when there is a person that has committed real world atrocity, and rather than look at that soberly and more importantly factually, and you actually sort of mythologize around them,
Mm.
and you can mythologize by saying, "Oh no, Hitler was a good guy, and this is all propaganda and blah blah blah." But you can also mythologize in the other direction and say he was the baddest dude. He committed the most atrocities ever. His the scale of the atrocity was unprecedented or whatever. And
Yeah,
Hitler's still bad, but none of that is technically true. You
and
know,
and and it just gives the myth more potency and
it
power.
does. It
Yeah.
absolutely does.
Whereas if
What?
you make like you're not making light of the damage or the
No,
harm that the
not
guy
at
was
all.
caused. But like when I watch like a Whitest Kids You Know sketch where it's about Hitler driving in a fancy car, like a ghetto gangster, like I think it's great. I think that has some kind of medicinal effect of like taking the piss out of something that maybe it's been long enough that we should start making it not like a.
Mm.
I don't think we should be triggered by the
Yep,
mere mention
that's
of
it.
something that happened fucking almost a century ago.
No, that's it.
Well, I think we're approaching that, and I think the insistence on calling everyone you dislike Hitler and Nazis, I don't know that and again, like we're removed enough to where like the true emotional impact of that has not it doesn't have the same ring in it like it did. Like um I mean it's actually crazy in the modern world because I don't think 9/11 does either.
No, it doesn't. It definitely.
Yeah.
I've thought that before as well. It definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
Which is arguably one of the craziest things that's happened in our lifetimes. I
Hmm.
assume we're all old enough to actually
Hmm.
have a memory of that. But it's just so its teeth are gone or
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Defanged utterly.
Defanged. Yeah. And it's but everyone acts like calling somebody a Nazi and Hitler still has teeth where it's just
Yep.
like no, I think you guys are gumming this at this
Yep.
point. Like I'm
It's
You
not
know, do you know what would really hurt? A nuanced critique.
yeah. No. Exactly. Engaging with my position in good faith
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and dismantling it would actually be really painful because then I'd have to reassess my priors. But if you don't do that and you don't give me the largesse to reconsider my own prior assumptions, by if you just like default to the it's a thought terminating cliche. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
It's a
completely
conversation ender.
yep 100%, dude. And it's call me crazy here, right? I think most people, unless you're like an actual like a groiper, would disagree with this. You probably should treat. I think you can make jokes about it, and it's fine. And I love dark humor. I'm Scottish. We only have like dark humor. Um, the but the idea that like you're gonna call everybody a Nazi at the drop of a hat, even like liberal people who just simply don't conform to
Mm.
the whatever the social mandate is, the shibboleth this week that you need to repeat. Um, the idea that, like, for instance, J.K. Rowling, she is a true dyed in the wool liberal feminist, donated all sorts of money to all these women's shelters and charities for disadvantaged youth and all that. And because she disagrees about this one social issue, she is, I've seen her called a fascist and a Nazi apologist and all
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
this is a progressive woman who has been a progressive vocally for her whole career. It, it's weird because you think the default liberal assumption, and I say liberal, that's no even, it's certainly no all liberals, and I know that, but the most visible element online, you think the default assumption would be, why don't we treat the idea of the Nazis with a bit more gravity and
Yeah.
seriousness rather than just using it as a stopper to a conversation that we don't want to have?
Yeah.
It's just it's weird that they don't see the disconnect. That it's a weird cognitive bias thing where
Mhm.
you're actually the one who is underplaying the severity of Hitler and the Nazis and the Holocaust and all that. When you wheel that out when a intersectional progressive feminist disagrees with you about the exact expression of, like, trans rights or whatever.
Mm.
You can say she's wrong. You can completely disagree with her. She's not a Nazi though. Words do have
No.
to have meaning, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some maybe some middle ground there, but
Yep.
I think what's happened is that the extremes have just kept getting more and more extreme, and the goalpost for what is like liberal or conservative just keeps sliding around.
Yep.
It's like you're on a fucking ship in a storm. And you really don't know like where what opinion is anymore. And I like that. It's hard to care.
No, I don't care.
It's
I
like
don't care.
I still feel the same way about everything pretty much as I
Pretty much.
always have.
Pretty much.
Well, it just shows the power of the prisoner's predictive capacities when Patrick McGowan dancing around these three shops, constantly encountering bombs and explosions. That's very much our modern existence.
It's actually just as pregnant a visual metaphor for today's, like, discursive landscape as the earlier episode when they start calling him unmutual and saying he's a reactionary and a rebel and all that. Both of these realities are here in the room with us, you know.
Oh no! You mean if I jump out of the oh wait, the spike pit is electrified, and if I jump out of the spike pit, there's mines everywhere. But if I don't jump out of the spike pit into the next room, the mines will blow up in another 10 seconds. It's just like, I love that this is just an ongoing conversation with her, and then he's like, every move he does, he's like, "Oh, by the way," and it's like, why would I believe you? But I guess I have to go with this bullshit. uh, until you use their own weapons against them, and then you use the bellows to blow a hole through the metal. Oh, oh, and then you have to duel them with your bulldozer. Say laurel bombs at you.
I love when she pulls out that bazooka. That's great.
It had the same, almost a similar level of absurdity as was it? Oh, which movie was it? Which Mike movie was it with the
Where it
end,
just ends with the guy like
They're like-
pulling the duel.
and then they end up, turning into kaiju.
Yeah,
Oh fuck! Is it Dead or Alive too?
yeah, it is.
Aye.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It actually does have kind of proto Mickey energy. It does, and its absurdity. This episode does feel curiously Japanese,
Yeah, it does. You're right.
and it's sort of, it's weird live action cartoon feel.
Uh-huh.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah, there was actually a moment where I forget what moment it was, but at some point, like we were watching it, and I just let out a whoop 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 whoop. Like it was very Three Stooges at some points.
uh,
Maybe actually it might have been in the Wild West episode. There was something where it was like very slapstick.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it ends. It culminates with her pulling out the bazooka and blowing up the bulldozer, and then there's the weird like we have to cut to the rubble on fire somehow. Like we have to. It's like we do that, and then she walks past it, and then he's hiding in a manhole that's conveniently like 2 feet away from where the thing exploded.
It's yeah, if you think about like the time between firing
Yeah.
that rocket, and it's like, let me get down out of my chair and walk around and pull this up, and it's great. I love the awkward cut to like suddenly everything's burning. That is,
Yep.
I fucking adore that. Like anytime it's done in anything,
Yeah.
even when it's done on purpose as a joke, it gets me every time.
I know. No, on you go.
No, and it's just hilarious because like the way it's arranged, it's just like, oh god, we got to move. The prop guys are like, oh, we got to move all this heavy shit into place, and like, it's like, well, no, it should be an explosion. It should be spread out. And it's like, dude, we're not gonna. Okay, just set it on fire. Just film it.
I mean, and you could shoot it, cut to the person's face, have an actual like a lighter with a can of hairspray, and show like the reflection of flames, just the light on their face, not the actual
Yeah.
flames, and then cut back to everything being on fire. But they didn't do that, did they? They didn't do that. They held it still, and they were like, "It's not on fire. Now it's all
It's
on fire."
fire. Good enough.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's in the budget.
This definitely feels like an episode where like again, this is just if you've ever watched like the '60s, the Avengers, the Spy Show, or the Saint, or like the earlier Magoon Show, Danger Man. Or, I mean, I think all three of those shows are great. But the spikes that are like advancing super slow. He could get up at any point. They look blunted. They don't even look
Yeah, they do.
pointy.
Also,
It's just
aren't
it's great.
the soles of his shoes rubber? Like,
Rubber.
Yep. Uh,
Eh.
I love that his gymnast training comes in handy there. He's
yep.
using the gun as the.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep. That's so true. It would have been so cool if rather than the boxing match, he had to do Kosho though. If we're being honest, they
wait.
could have slipped it in.
This is actually amazing because so he's always doing those workouts for real, but he's telling this story to the kids. So this is like he's fantasizing about when he gets to use that.
Yes.
Oh shit! And you're right. I forgot about the fucking boxing match where he gets information from the guys punching in the face.
Oh,
They're
that's
having a
right.
fight.
That feels like something for a Takashi Miike film. 100%.
Oh my god.
It's probably about time for closing remarks. I'm gonna run to the bathroom, but yeah, it's been like over 2 hours.
Well, we should say that the episode wraps up where it's revealed that this whole it actually cuts to like these storybook pages.
Yep.
And different, like before it goes where I assume what the commercial breaks would be.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, and then it ends with number 6 closing a storybook, and it's revealed that he's been reading a bedtime story to a bunk full of kids, and ostensibly while being watched by number 2 and another, basically who is Death and Napoleon in his story is number 2, and I don't know what her number is in the in the real quote unquote world. And they're upset because I guess they thought he would reveal secrets when talking to kids.
That's the flimsiest number
Number
two
two.
plot reveal. He's like,
Uh,
"Ah, he wouldn't drop his guard around his own grandmother.
Yeah,
And it's,
like
what did you think he was just going to go? And that was a good bedtime story. Here's why I resigned for British intelligence. You know what I
what?
mean?
Okay, what? Okay, so there's so many questions. So one, there's kids on the village.
Yep, yep. I thought that as well. I was like, I don't think we ever actually see any kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, at
no.
first I was like, is this like years later? Are these his kids? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So okay, there's kids in the village. Are they implying that like one or two of the kids is a spy too and is trying to get him to reveal?
Oh, I didn't even think about that interpretation. You
Oh,
might be right.
oh wow.
It would make
Yeah, that's
sense.
interesting.
But yeah, so he's in the village nursery reading kids a bedtime story, which he's making up, which probably, like we've been saying, based on a a fantastical retelling of one of his actual missions, and then he knowingly leaves a Raggedy Ann clown in view of whatever cameras that number two and the lady are watching. Like fuck you guys, you ain't
That
ever
was the
get.
best. You fucking clowns.
The hangover from living in harmony is such that going from living in harmony straight into this episode, uh, you almost think the number two reveal. You almost think that there's still going to be that the bleed over effect is
Yeah,
going to happen again, even though it wouldn't technically make sense because that was a story. But I almost think that she's going to start to regress into that character again, but it doesn't happen, obviously.
yeah.
Um, I really wish we could have seen somebody fly. I realised the episode couldn't end this way, but I would love to see somebody fly Beachy Head Lighthouse into Parliament. That's whenever you float that in a story, you've got to pay that off. You know what I mean? Oh,
Some like super rich Guy Fawkes enthusiast that's also a sailor.
Ah, well, so this is you were saying, Joe, that this is kind of among the batch where like McGowan had the most control over.
this is these last four episodes, the Living in Harmony, this and the script editor who was co-creator for the show, George Markstein. Interestingly, he's the guy that plays McGowan's boss in the intro to each episode.
Mm,
The guy that he resigns to, he left. Him and they had completely different ideas about what kind of ending they wanted. Markstein wanted the show to continue for multiple seasons. McGowan was like, absolutely no. I want to do The Prisoner specifically to do a story with a beginning, middle, and end sort of thing.
And I created it, so nah,
Yeah,
nah, nah.
well, I think there was a bit of I'm going to take my ball and go home sort of stuff.
mm,
And obviously, if one of them had to walk, it's got to be that guy. It can't be McGowan
yeah.
because he's number six. Um,
Because he's literally the guy
yeah,
whose
yeah,
character he's playing, and he won't take
Mm,
no.
yeah. So, this is these, but interestingly, so people really like the penultimate episode. I mean,
mm,
some people think it's pretentious, but a lot of people will give that flowers. It's the last episode that people really don't like. But
okay.
these Living in Harmony and The Girl Who Was Death are two episodes that, like I was saying to you earlier on Discord, for years I was like, oh man, those three episodes near the end before the two-parter, they fucking suck. They're so fillery, and this was just totally. This is all you would see online when you saw a
Yeah.
discussion about the prisoner. Was these episodes are like a waste of time? I've seen people even suggest taking them out when you watch the show, just skipping them. And see, now I think that's madness. I think that's
Yeah,
crazy. These episodes are great. They're so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
they're
really
so
fun.
fun. Yeah, and they kind of there's an exploration of the format that's kind of amazing.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
actually pretty interesting in that sense
yeah,
as well.
That kind of vibe is actually what I loved so part of what I love so much about Maniac.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right,
mm,
That's all I'm gonna say, but
right.
that like playing with the format stuff and it's something you don't really see that often, but it's
Mhm.
great when it's done well.
Aye. I love whenever a show is sort of confident enough in the if you think about the premise of The Prisoner as a kind of rubber band and the idea that they're willing to just stretch it as far back as it can go, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Some people would argue it did snap for these 3 episodes, but nowadays I completely disagree. I love these before the 2-part finale. It just has this run of just strange little experiments.
yeah.
It's a nice palate cleanser, especially where the finale goes. These are they're very different, so that's good.
Very
Man, I'm
excited to
so excited for these last two episodes.
I know. And it's like I already feel myself wanting to watch through these again. And my wife was just asking today, like, are you sure there isn't a second season? I was like, no, there's not, but we can just
You
watch
should
this one again.
you should just find some random show and be like, oh, here's the second season
I
of The
just put on
Prisoner.
Lost.
Oh, before I forget, very, very brief thing. Totally forgot to say it earlier on in the episode. Uh, Potter, the guy the sort of shoe shine guy who is
Oh
like
yeah.
number
Oh,
six's informant.
yeah.
That's a character from Danger Man, also called Potter, who is his informant.
Ah.
Oh,
I
So
wondered because there was something about him that felt familiar, but I was like, this might just be this like and then he pulls out the phone that's also a brush, and I'm
oh,
like,
shit.
I think
yeah,
this is just a trope. Like, I don't
yeah.
know if this is actually a part of anything, but that's interesting.
Uh-huh. So this is, The Prisoner was meant to be a sequel to Danger Man. He would have been playing John Drake. There was an unproduced episode of Danger Man where John Drake, McGowan's character, had devised a village where ex-spies would be sent who were compromised and couldn't be allowed to live free. And so obviously he just took this unused idea and built a whole show around it
Around it, yeah.
rather than a half an hour episode.
Huh.
Which I think I'm really grateful for him, not just because The Prisoner is like one of a kind and all that and just great fun to watch and speak about, but it's that is a really interesting, cool premise, and to only sit inside that premise for 30 minutes would have been a shame.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he did not do that.
Is Danger Man worth watching?
It's really good.
Is it? Okay.
It's really good. And actually, if you wanted a bit more sort of prisoner type stuff, it's definitely less psychedelic. It is more of a straight spy show. But McGowan's great in it. John Drake is functionally just number six. They are basically the same character.
Hmm.
It even ends. I don't want to really say too much in case you watch it, but it kind of ends at a point where you can see logically why The Prisoner would have been a sequel.
Huh.
Mm,
So it does sort of work as a. It almost makes me wish that they could have got the rights because they are like spiritual siblings, and it would have made sense to just have them be canonical with one
yeah.
another. But it's still 100% worth watching. I really like it.
Okay.
Well, anybody have any other thoughts?
Other than I think everybody, um, I'm of two minds. I wish more people saw this and knew about this show. But at the same time, thankfully, it's probably been spared fucking idiots on YouTube making like prisoner AI sequels to like
AI sequels. No.
Oh, that is the worst shit.
That
I
that's the exact Joe. That is the correct no. The like despondent, like no, like that.
That's exactly what I don't want.
What? Yeah.
It was like exhaustion upon your soul.
Yes. Oh my God.
Well, I suppose
We'll be seeing you